My name is Taunya Ernst. I am the High Tunnel and Urban Ag Instructor for the University of Arkansas Systems Division of Agriculture. Today we're at the Southwest Research and Extension Center to talk about drip irrigation systems, specifically how to design and set up a drip irrigation system for a small area. Now, depending on the type of water source you are using, that will dictate some of the parts you will need and kind of how your system will look. We will be using an above ground irrigation pond for our system. So a lot of our parts might be a little bit more specific to that, but we will talk about the parts that should show up in every drip irrigation system, no matter what your water source is or where it's going to look. So hopefully by the end of this video, you will feel confident going forward, designing your own system and getting it in place. When we talk about this system, we're going to actually divide it into three different parts. The first part is going to be our intake line. If you're using a municipal water source or like a water spigot, you'll probably not have to worry about this part of your irrigation system. But again, we're pulling from an above ground pond, so we'll definitely have an intake line. The main parts from this intake line that you will need to make sure that you have, because we're pulling from a pond, having some way of filtering some of those large particles so they're not sucked up into your irrigation pump. Having a check valve, this will definitely help if you're using a pump that requires some type of a charge or in order for it to start pumping. It'll prevent water from flowing back into the pond. And then having some type of a check valve. These are handy if you just need to winterize or shut off the system for maintenance or anything like that. So that's your intake line. The next part, no matter what part of your irrigation source is, you'll have some type of what we're referring to as an assembly head. So this is where you're going to start seeing your filter. For a drip irrigation system, it's very important to have some type of a filter system on place, because you're using the drip tape has some really small holes that it's dripping that water through. So any type of even small contamination getting into your lines can cause some big issues with clogging and not getting your water where you need to go. So having some type of a filtration system will be important. So this one's a little bit bigger. Again, we're pulling from a pond, so we have a lot of potential contaminants that can get into our water source, so we went with a bigger filter. In this part of your system, you will also need some type of a pressure reducer. Again, we're pushing this water through the drip tape with those small emitters. So it's easy to blow lines or get too much pressure in there. So having some type of a way of reducing that and controlling the amount of pressure that's going out to your system is very important. And again, the rest of these parts are a little bit more tailored specifically to our design in our system. So what you're doing may be tweaked or shifted based on how you're going to fit all those pieces together. So the last part of our system that you're gonna have, and this is your outflow. So this is where you're actually going to start seeing your drip tape. So this part that's actually in the field and getting water out to your plants. So some common things, again, it'll be tweaked or shifted depending on what your system's going to look like ultimately, and what other parts that you have. But some common things that you're going to need is, of course, you're going to be your drip tape. Having some way of connecting your drip tape to whatever your header line is. We're going to be using some lay flat hose, which you can see down here, but you can use some other different materials, some tubing or whatever. So just make sure you have something that can connect that to your drip tape. And again, having some type of a cap for the end of your drip tape line and for your header line. Again, these other parts here are a little bit more specific for our system. So your system may look a little bit different, but those are the parts that you're definitely going to need. So thank you for joining us. So hopefully by the end of this video, you will feel really confident going forward and designing your own system. And here we go. Start with a sketch. Pen and paper is the easiest way to visualize your system. Plan your layout and figure out what parts you need. You'll thank yourself later when it saves you time, money, and at least one trip to the hardware store. We're going to build a system designed to irrigate about 1 acre of crops, using a pond as our source of water. First, you'll need to test your water. Whether it's from a pond, well, river, or municipal line, you'll want to catch any issues early. Issues can include high mineral content, sediment, poor pH, or contaminants that could cause clogs or affect plant health. Your local extension office or NRCS agent can help you interpret your water test results. Also, make sure your water source is reliable year-round. This is especially important for high tunnel production. Once you've got your plan and parts list, let's start assembling your drip irrigation system. If you are planning on using a pump to irrigate, and you're not sure what type of pump to get, or are worried about getting the right size, talk to your irrigation supplier. They can help you choose one based on your water source, power options, and acreage. Your pump needs to be powerful enough to irrigate your entire cropped area. This means you need to do a little math. Here's a simple formula to help you determine your needed pump size. Your pump size, in gallons per hour, needs to equal the number of emitters your system is feeding multiplied by your emitter flow rate in gallons per hour. If you have 500 emitters and each emitter delivers half a gallon per hour, then you need a pump that can deliver 250 gallons per hour, and that's a minimum. It's often recommended to get a pump a little bit bigger than what you need in case you want to expand or account for elevation changes and longer pumping distances. Make sure to place your pump on a stable foundation that is close to your water source for efficiency. Now let's build the intake line. This is the section of your system that connects your pump to your water source. From the sketch we made earlier, we know we'll need 2-inch PVC pipe, an intake screen or suction strainer to keep debris out of our line, a check valve to keep water from draining back into the pond, a quick connect fitting, some slip couplers, and PVC cement. So we have our intake line all laid out here with all the pieces in place. So we're going to walk you through, show you where all of these pieces kind of fit, and talk a little bit about why we have them in there. So starting out, we have our irrigation pump right here. And we mentioned this earlier on in the video, that it's often wise to oversize your pump system. So this one's much larger than what we will actually need. I think this one will pump 158 gallons per minute. So much bigger than what we need, but then if we decide we need to irrigate more area, we don't have to purchase another pump. Coming out here, we've got our quick connects. So if we need to disconnect this line and move our pump for any reason, it pops off really easy. We don't have to unscrew anything. Coming down here, here's our ball valve that we've got right here. And then our check flow comes next, and it's very important. There is a right and wrong way to put in a check valve. So if you look right here, there's actually an arrow indicating what direction water will flow through this. So if you have this flipped around, you won't be able to actually your pump won't be able to pull water up. It'll actually stop right here. Now the purpose of the check valve is this allows water to flow only in one direction. So if you ever have to shut the pump off for any reason, this part will all stay charged, which is very nice for these pumps that have to be charged every time that they turn it on. It saves you some effort. So make sure you're going in the right direction. Next, we just have these PVC. This is just going to allow us to extend our intake line as far into the pond as we need and want to go. If you need it longer than this, it's really easy to just connect in a second piece of PVC and just couple them together. Then right here at the very end, we have our intake screen. This will prevent any large pieces of sediment from getting into our pump and preventing any damage that might cause. The last thing that you're going to need to put all of this together is you're going to need some type of PVC cement to glue all the slips together, and some plumber's tape if you have any threads to make sure you reduce the amount of leaks and everything seals well. Next, we'll work on building our head assembly. This typically includes some kind of a quick connect like a cam lock, a couple ball valves, a filter, this is especially important with any type of surface water, a pressure regulator, and an adapter to connect your head assembly to your outlet line. Filters are crucial, especially if you're using pond water or river water. Drip emitters clog easily, and a good filter helps protect your investment. Before purchasing a filter, you can talk with your irrigation specialist or supplier, and they can help you select a filter that will work well for your system. So starting over here, so our pump will be right here. So we've got our quick connect here that'll go pop into our pump, and then we'll come out. We've got a couple ball valves right here, and here's our filter system right here. So if you keep going here, we've got our pressure reducer, and then something that'll adapt to go down to our lay flat hose. Now I want to point out a couple things about this setup right here. First off, the filter and the pressure reducer both have a right and wrong way to put them in, just like with our check valve. You want to make sure water is flowing in the correct direction. So again, our pump is over on this side. So water's coming in this way, and conveniently they do have all of these arrows showing you what direction water should be flowing. So water's coming in from this side, flowing through here, and then here it is flowing here, and then out to our line. So make sure you get those in the correct order. The other thing I want to mention, so we do have our filter here. Because we're pulling from a pond, we do have a chance of a lot of sediment coming in, and the filter definitely having to do a good job cleaning things out. So the filter can get clogged fairly easily. So having a way where you can clean this quickly and easily is always important because again, it can get clogged. So we put 2 ball valves on either side of this so we can kind of shut this one off and then run water through here if we want to try and clean out that filter, or we can shut them off on either side and remove this filter if we need to, just for cleaning purposes. So this is just for ease of that. So again, these aren't necessary, but we're going to add them into the system. Now that we have it all pieced together and in the right order and flowing in the right direction, we'll go ahead and attach it to our pump. So now that we have our intake line in place, our head assembly in place, and we've laid out our lay flat hose, we're going to attach our lay flat hose to our head assembly. This is pretty easy to do. So at the very end of our head assembly, we have this barb fitting that we attached at the very end, and the hose is just going to slide right over it, and then we'll clamp it in place. A couple tricks when you're putting this on here: make sure you're cutting the lay flat hose as even and smooth as possible. You'll get a better seal this way. And then when you pull it over this, over the barb fitting, you want to make sure you come over, you've got some little barbs all along here. You want to pull it up as far as you can and kind of rest it snug right up next to it. Goes on pretty easy. You might just have to finagle just a little bit. All right. And then the clamp just comes down, and you'll tighten this all the way down, and it'll hold the hose in place. So after you've flushed your lines a little bit, you've run some water through, any contaminants that might have built up have been flushed out, we're going to cap off this line. There's a couple things you can do. So we're going to slide this hose clamp over the top. There are plugs that you can get that you can just pop in there, and it just blocks all the water from coming out. But what I'd like to do is we got a couple of pieces here this time. So this will slide in there. It's our barb fitting. But we're going to have a cap that we can put on over the end. And the reason I wanted to do this is that it's not uncommon for there to be some buildup inside the line, and a need to flush out those lines periodically. So if you put a plug in here, it means you'll have to undo your hose clamp, pull this out, flush the line, and then put it all back in. But if we do it this way, we can screw this on, it'll hold all the water, and then we can unscrew it if we need to let that water just flow out. So that's why we're going to go ahead and do these. So now with our cap on, we're going to go ahead and run our drip tape and get ready to connect that to our header line. Now let's piece together the final section, your outlet line. This part moves water from your pump out to your crops. It should include your main line, the header line, and the drip tape. For our system, we will be using a lay flat hose for both the main line and header line. Because we're using lay flat hose, we'll need tape to lay flat adapters, one for each drip line, lay flat end caps, and hose clamps. You will also need end caps for each line of drip tape. Lay your main line first. We chose to use lay flat hose because this system will not be permanent, and we plan on removing it at the end of the season. If you are installing a permanent system and your pump is a distance from your field, consider using PVC and burying your main line. Extend your main line a few feet past your last bed, so when you flush it, you will avoid flooding your end row. Now, lay your drip tape down the beds. One line per bed works for this example, but you can always adjust depending on your crop and spacing. When you're laying drip tape, there is a right and wrong way to put it out. So you can see on this tape, there's like these little white lines. This is kind of an indication of you want this side facing up. Not all drip tape will have a line indicating what side up. So if yours doesn't, just feel along until you find where that emitter is. So we've got an emitter right here, and you can feel what side of the tape has that emitter, and you want that emitter to be on the top of it. And the reason this is if any debris or sediment gets inside this line, if you have your emitter on the bottom side, as that debris settles, it can clog your emitters. But this way it settles on the bottom, and it can leave your emitters free of clog and allow them to keep flowing. So make sure they're on the top side. Alright, so to attach our drip tape to our lay flat hose, we're going to use a lay flat hose to drip tape adapter. This one is has a teardrop shape on one side. And the way this works is this part is actually going to be slid inside of the lay flat hose. And then once it's in, we're going to tighten this down to pinch it closed. And then water can run through there and out here into our drip tape. So I'm going to loosen that back up. And then we got a special tool here that cuts a little hole, a perfect size, inside of our lay flat hose. So we're going to punch a hole here real quick. And when you punch it, it's advised to do it right on the crease right here. And if you've run water through your line and this has been filled a little bit, it will make it a lot easier to get that teardrop shape adapter in there. So this just slides over, punches a little hole right there in that crease. So this takes some practice getting this in. So be patient with yourself on that first one. And again, if you have water in their line, it will go a little bit easier. There we go. So I kind of put it in. And once it's in, you're going to kind of twist this again, like I said, and that's going to pinch it right there next to your lay flat. And one nice thing about these adapters, they're a little bit more expensive, but this allows you to shut water off to a single line. So if you, for whatever reason, have pulled out this bed and want to shut water off but continue irrigating other beds, this is kind of nice. Or if you need to fix just one line in one bed but not the others, these come in handy. So once you have that in, your drip tape is going to attach to this other side. And if you look at it, you've got a couple barbs on here, and when you slide your drip tape over this, you want to make sure you're getting that over both of those barbs before you tighten it down over the drip tape. When you cut your drip tape where you're going to attach, you want to make sure that there isn't an emitter right here, because the emitter can cause it to not fully seal. So here's our emitter right here. We came up before we reached the other emitter is where we cut off this tape. So kind of open that up, and this should just slide on. Kind of have to wiggle it a little bit. But again, you want to make sure it's going up above that second barb. And once you got it on there, this green part just twists down and tightens over your drip tape. And there you go. So we're going to put a cap on the end of each one of our drip lines. Before we do that, you're going to want to turn your irrigation system on and flush all of these lines just in case any type of debris came out or got into those lines. So you're going to turn that on, let it run for a few minutes, let that water push all of that out. After that, we're going to go ahead and put a cap on each of these lines. Now, the way you cap at the end of their tape, there's a lot of different methods to use. We're going to use kind of one of the easier ones. It's a little bit more expensive, but I'll explain why we decided to do it this way. So it's very similar to what we showed up there, or when we were capping our lay flat hose. This one has an end that just kind of screws off here. So if you do get any contaminants in your line, it's really easy to come and just unscrew this cap, turn your water on, and then let it flush the line. So it's a little bit more expensive, but it does make flushing lines a little bit easier if that's needed. So to cap a line, when you're going to come through and we're going to end our drip tape right here. And just like at the beginning when we cut this drip tape, we want to make sure we're nowhere near one of our emitters. Otherwise that will prevent us from getting a good seal on our cap. So we got one emitter here, we got one emitter here, so I'm just going to cut it right here in the middle. And the straighter you get this, the better seal you're going to get, just like with your lay flat hose. And then on this, you can see we've got the two barbs. We want to slide it all the way over that second barb before we tighten it down. And then we're just going to tighten it down. And there you go. Now once you get all of these caps in place on each one of your lines, you're ready to irrigate. Whether you're irrigating one bed or an entire acre, drip irrigation is a smart, scalable solution to help grow better crops with less waste. This video is part of our irrigation series supported by the USDA Natural Resource Conservation Service. Be sure to check out our other videos on fertigation, troubleshooting, and more. Thanks for watching.